Well, they'll come on at some point. I'm sure I'll look at
So you're
something.
going to put them on when you feel like, well, gee, I better respond in a really intelligent way. So I got to put the glasses back on.
I'm a little stupid right now, so give me a second. There you go. Okay, so now you take the vector of the angle of the racket at 3 degrees and the rotation of the Earth,
Yes.
and then
We start going double helix.
double helix,
Yes.
and then that's how you get a topspin forehand.
Beautiful.
In a nutshell.
Okay.
In a nutshell. A rotating nutshell.
A rotating nutshell. We could just go. We could keep going with this.
Keeps going, doesn't it?
Keep egging you, Jeffrey. Good morning. What's going on there, dude?
Hey, good morning, Brenny. Just another beautiful day here in the Napa Valley. A little overcast. You can probably see it's a little gray behind it, but it's always a great place to be. That's for sure.
I got a question for you today.
Ooh, my turn, right?
I've got a question. I got to make sure I get this absolutely right.
There you go.
Not that I totally forgot what I was going to ask you. So, winning. What's the number one thing, Jeff, that you know about winning that someone else just doesn't know?
Wow.
One thing. It can't be a whole, now a stream of consciousness where you're just going off on all these little things.
Right.
What is the one thing, if you could pull it out of your pocket and give the guy the magic bullet, the magic pill, what's the one thing you know about winning that someone else does not?
If I had to pull it out of my pocket right now, it's okay. In fact, it's really great. It's important. It's okay if the other guy hits the ball.
Bingo.
I mean, it's okay if the other guy hits the ball. And I'll put it in terms, like really basic terms right now. And I'm going to ask you a question, and then we'll get back to this little circle here,
God,
okay? It's going to be
You're
fine.
getting it back on me, man.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
So
if, let's just assume in the warm-up or you and I have chatted right before a tournament, you know the guy I'm going to play first round, and you've given me some intel on him, and through my warm-up after listening to you, I've confirmed that this guy's backhand is completely suspect. It's definitely the weak link, without a doubt. So once we've decided that, right, I've confirmed your intel. The question I'm going to ask you then is, when is this guy's backhand weak?
Probably from the very first point.
Bingo. Go to the head of the class.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, God.
That was huge, though, because listen, the answers I get when I talk about this to my students is, well, if I've pressured him with an approach shot, if I hit a good high rolling ball, if I get all these different answers, and the reality is that if his backhand is weak, that means all the time. It doesn't mean he's going to miss the ball every time. It does mean, though, that I'm going to get a lot of opportunities. So I've watched players do this, and that is, okay, listen, their backhand is kind of suspect, so you want to pressure them and go heavy there, right? And all of a sudden, the person is trying to hit winners and dingers into the backhand side. So it doesn't do me any good if he's not actually touching the ball with his weak backhand. It's great if I hit a winner there. Okay, fine. But the gold, the reward is if I'm making him touch the ball with his weak backhand, because that's where I'm going to get all the opportunity from. Now, there's lots of different avenues then, how to construct that point to get the most out of it. But the most important thing is he's got to touch the ball with his weak backhand. Or whatever the intel says, or what I've decided in the warm-up as I've tried to assess my opponent. Where's the weak link?
Yeah. So what you're saying is, let's take the pressure off of having to think, all right, he's got a weak side over there, so we got to go so big that it never comes back. Well, look, if you go so big to someone's strength, if you go that big, and I'm talking, world-class big to that guy's strength, it's probably not coming back too. So,
right. So you're probably going to get something to work with.
Yeah. So Take the pressure off of having to hit outright winners to someone's weakness, and instead, as you're saying, let them touch the ball. And what's going to happen is one of maybe a few things. Either they're not going to get the ball back in play. You've allowed them to touch the ball. It doesn't come back in play. You win the point. It does come back in play, but it's a fat sitter. It
Right.
opens up the court. You can either go thunder, big time, give it a ride to the open court. Or in my case, in my age group, if it's real short, I might play a dropper.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I might do that. So if I don't allow the guy a chance to either miss it or to give me the sitter or to give me maybe the third thing, which is they put it back in a neutral spot where, all right, I'm going to take it back over there again. And
Right.
now,
They just give you a really nice rally ball.
that's right. But now the second time I go over there, the chances, if it's weak, the odds are now going up that it's going to be one of the first two things. It's either not coming back or it's going to be a fat sitter.
Right.
And if it does come back a second time where it's a neutral rally ball, what you're saying is if you go back there a third time, don't panic and go, oh my God, I got to do something else because the guy's just dinking it back.
Right.
Go back there a third time, and now the odds are even higher than that second time that you're going to get one of those first two,
Right.
error or a ball that you can really work with. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good answer to, and I think I put you on the spot today, which was good.
You did.
Which
You
was,
did.
I think, and I saw a little bit of like a little,
Yeah.
you know, breath kind of went up here, where it was kind of like up there in your throat a little bit, like, oh, gee, man, that was
So I
good.
have an answer for this, right?
That was good. That was
But
good.
I think, that's it's just so true. I think players as a whole, from 3-0 and on up into 5-0, I've seen it where the value in winning points is always kind of based or generally based in, did I win the point? Meaning, did I hit a great shot that forced the error, or did I hit an outright winner? And so trying to live in that arena, for 2 sets, 3 sets, is just a really difficult, really difficult.
Well, I
pressure.
think you're right. I mean, being in that space where you think you're the one who has to win it outright is a tough place to live. I think the other thing too is
I like to give my opponent some responsibility in the outcome.
in contributing. Hey, thank you very much. That was a
I want
great
to give
match.
him an opportunity to help me out.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I think one of the things that happens too is that, like you said in the beginning, I've given you some intel about this guy, and let's say I've said that, his weak is his backhand is suspect, and you've decided to go over there. But I think sometimes guys go, I'm going to go a little bit bigger over there because I want to make sure he doesn't get it back to my weakness, if you've got one. Now look,
Right.
you're at a point in the development of your game where you don't have any weaknesses, right? So whether they play you a backhand, whether they play you a forehand, whether it's a slice coming in or it's a heavy topper, and your game is so good that you don't have to think about that. But there are other guys out there who have their own weakness. So
Yeah.
there could be that, some guy comes to me not like you, but some guy who's got a weakness and says, hey, what about this guy I'm playing? Well, his backhand is suspect. And he's going, well, so is mine. So
Right.
if I get into a cross-court exchange with that backhand, I'm actually kind of giving him an opportunity to kind of go high percentage back to my weakness.
Right.
What should I do? Jeff.
What should I do? Well,
Talk about another magic bullet. What's in your other pocket that you can pull out to answer that question?
Well, there's a few options, right? One is the deeper I put the player into the backhand corner, the likelihood is they're going to go cross court. They have a more angle as well, so they can get it deeper into my backhand corner. So many times it almost sounds counterintuitive to bring the guy back into the center of the court a little bit and make him hit that backhand from a little bit more of a court-centric position. There's less angle, which means, does it create opportunity for you to get around and get your forehand in play? Is the ball that he returns just left of the center hash 3-4 feet? Because that should be a ball we should all types of players should be able to get around and hit a forehand. that can redirect and hit that bigger, heavier ball, and you start the construction of your pattern heavier into their backhand, and now you're going to cheat the court a little bit and look to convert the next ball again into a forehand. The other way to do it too is and this, let's use Roger Federer as the example here, right? The highest level, right? Everybody knows, right? You walk into the U.S. Open stadium, there's 30,000 people. Everybody knows you're trying to get a ball up into Fed's high backhand. Everybody in the stadium knows it. He knows it. Rafa knows it. Whoever is on the other side of the net knows it. Okay, the challenge with that is 85% of the court is Roger's forehand, right? So you're probably going to have to go through his front door, i.e. his forehand, to have access to the backhand. So even at the 3-0, 3-5 level, that first attack out of the gate might be heavy into the guy's forehand or a high roller into the guy's forehand to make him bring the ball back cross court to your forehand. But now you've created space that you can attack his backhand. You have the ability to get there. So it's not always, I'm so isolated, I can't do anything. What about my weak backhand? I'm going to stand way over here and make it obvious that I don't want to hit one.
Right.
But there's ways to actually hide it by actually kind of being in the front of it, and like I said, you got to go through the guy's front door to make it happen, to create the space so you can access the guy's backhand. And obviously, Roger now has actually even taken that the last few years off the table a little bit, because now he just doesn't back up. He just takes the backhand off the short hop off the backhand, which is how he handled Rafa down at the Australian Open. He just refused to back up, so he never took a high backhand. That's obviously elevated skill level, but
the lesson of what he did is something that if you do have, for example, a weak backhand, go out there, and I'm sure Fed did. He went out there and he said,
he solved it.
Coach, you got to feed me a bunch of these rollers into my backhand. I'm going to step in and hit, 5,300 of them. And so if you've got the weak backhand, don't try to figure it out on your own. Fed doesn't try to figure this stuff out on his own.
He's got a team.
He's got a coach. He's got a guy. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go out there and get yourself someone, not who's going to say, I can show you the Fed backhand, but someone who's going to say, I'm going to show you the most simple, clean, stupid simple slice backhand, so that you can shore it up, and you can never ever again think to yourself, okay, Jeff, well, I'll go ahead and play that guy's backhand, and never have to come in with a condition, but my backhand is weak too, so what do I do? And so I think too many players just go, well, either I'm going to hide this thing somehow, as you talked about, just get way over and hide it. Pretty obvious. You don't want to play that shot. Or get yourself someone or a model that is so clean, so simple, that you could just slide that thing over there all day long and make it neutral. And if the guy's backhand's weak, you're going to get an error. You're going to get a short ball that you can do some damage with on your big forehand.
Right.
And if it comes back one more time, well, you're not freaking out and you're not giving up court position because you're trying to hide your backhand. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the nuance takes work, though. None of this happens by magic. Like you said, you got to get out there with the ball machine, with a coach, and figure out, what's the solution here? Is it the solution normally, 99.9% of the time, I'm going out on a limb here with that kind of percentage, the solution most of the time is not to reinvent your backhand, not to, totally rip it apart and lay it out there on the garage floor and figure out how to reassemble it. Because that's a long-term project, and it's not to say that shouldn't happen, that there shouldn't be some tweaks made along the way. However, a lot of solutions can be based in how do you naturally hit your backhand, what are you doing already, And how do we tweak that a little bit? How do we show you how to use what you already have? Or is there another shot that you hit well that we can now bring over and use the basic fundamental of that other shot to create what we need over there? So, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing you said from the get-go, when I put you on the spot about the question, and you said, you got to make the guy hit the ball. And I think too often what happens is when we think, all right, we're going to go and really get a backhand, we're going to work on a backhand so it's no longer weak. And either your perception, the player's perception is, or the coach's perception is, well, I need to go look at Wawrinka. I've got to be able to get a Gasquet-esque type of backhand to be able to really force. And what you've just lost is that thing that you said is you've got to let the guy hit the ball. And if you're going to try and develop a Wawrinka backhand, okay, man, I hope you got a couple lifetimes, because until then it's going to
take some time off from tournament play
or from your life.
That's right.
And instead, get a guy or a gal who can demonstrate a stupid, simple, easy, clean. It's going to be a slice backhand. I mean, to try to
more than likely, it's going to be a slice backhand.
I'm sorry, man. If I know topspin is the big buzzword we've been going on around for 10, 15 years.
Right.
But the topspin backhand is it takes work. It takes effort.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And if you want to do that, I mean, I use the topper. If a guy wants to come in, fine. I'll go ahead and roll it a little bit here, a little bit there. But if I'm going to stay back and let the guy hit the ball, I'm going to slide one over there. Here you go, dude.
Right.
Here you go. So
throw me another pitch. Throw me another pitch. I didn't like that one.
Yeah, and for me,
give it back.
That's right. That's right. I'm giving you batting practice here. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. You just foul tipped off another one.
Right.
Okay. So, and for me, I think what I've done with my slice backhand is I have really continued to try to pare out the unneeded, the unnecessary. I've tried to make it so simple that there's no way to miss it. I mean, obviously there is a way to miss it, but But I just never think that's going to happen.
Right. I mean, you become so confident because the feel of the ball is obviously distinctly different than a topspin, backhand for sure.
Right.
But the feel on the strings is so distinct when you finally get it, and it's such a great, because you feel the length of the court, you feel the spin, you are connected with that ball even though it's 80 feet away. Right. You're still connected to it. There's a sensation to it. There's a feeling to it. That's the only way to describe it. And when you have that kind of that's confidence. That leads to confidence when you start to really capture the feel of your different shots and producing them. We talked the other day about confidence. That just, again, it's another rung on the ladder. That just, again, you're grabbing a new, fresh piece of real estate when your backhand may not be the shot that actually creates opportunity or is an offensive weapon. However, it can be. I just don't miss it. I chip, occasional drive, but I chip.
And then I drop, and then I chip, and then I drop, and then I chip.
I just don't miss it.
Right.
And so in those situations, most of the time that's enough. I mean, again, we're talking, what's the title of the show here? Gold ball hunting. What we're talking about here is being able to stay in the hunt. And that hunt is, point by point. Can I stay in here? And I need to have the tools to stay.
Well, your answer was let the guy hit the ball, and that also says that mentally you're totally cool with staying in the point.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of this in doubles where guys will serve a return and they start moving in, and they've got a little mid-court transitional volley or half volley. It's down low, and they're just not cool with playing a shot that would just sort of feather back over cross court, safe, get down to the guy's feet. Instead, right. I got to go big. I got to do something big here.
Right. I call that looking for the exit.
Yeah.
Let the other guy look for the exit first.
Right. Good. And we're not talking about pushing.
Nope, not talking about pushing and poking the ball around the court. Be responsible. You take responsibility for the strokes you have. Use them. If you have a pretty good forehand that can inflict some pain, use it. Inflict some pain. There is risk with that. There's some risk with that. Anytime we go offense and we're trying to, inflict a little more pain, a little heavier amount of stress, the risk reward starts to go like this, right? So you have to figure out where, as I increase my pace and spin, at what point does this, as I push, does my control start to fall dramatically? There's a point in there where you're willing to take where we're kind of hovering like this, and then we start to separate, and then there's a point where it goes like that. The bottom drops out.
That's right. That's right.
And so that's knowing your toolbox. And so, but there is a responsibility to your toolbox and using them in a manner that best suits you, your personality, the way you play, and getting you the win.
Yeah, good, man. All right, well done. Good answer. Thank you. Thank you. Darn it! I was hoping to really ratchet up the hot seat.
I was hoping for a little more.
Yeah, let's see. Looking up for God. Please give me some answers, man. That was good. All right, Jeff. We're good for today, man. What would we love for everyone to do right now?
Like us, share us, subscribe to us.
Yes.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Right down there.
Somewhere.
Just let us know, and we'll get back to you.
Good. Well, the other thing too, guys, if you're listening to this and you are not on our email list, we have got a very cool thing that we want to give you. In exchange for getting on our email list, we promise not to spam you too much, but we just want to stay in touch with you anytime we've got, and I promise there will be no spam, but anytime we've got something new, we want to be able to get that out to you right away. And we've got a very cool video that you and I put together about how do you build confidence. Generically, how do we build confidence in our tennis game? And it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. It's how do you build it, and when do you know that you've got it? Right. And all this is about confidence is really about how do you shore up your day in and day out skill level range. And so we've got a very cool video that we have recorded that will explain those two things to you. Right below the video, if you're watching the video, is a link that will take you over to where you can get signed up for this video, for this free video. It's free, but it is private, only to those who are willing to get on our email list. If you're listening to this iTunes podcast, somewhere in the description area, I think you will find a link, or just go to goldballhunting.com. And you get signed up there. So guys, as always, thanks so much for hanging out with me and Jeff today. JJ, we'll do this again tomorrow, man.
Can't wait.
All right, babe. Talk to you then.